So in my previous videos we talked about preparing to mix. We talked about how Logic downloads exports tracks as stereo when they should be mono and how to convert them back. Also we talked about how to split stereo tracks into two mono tracks if we need to do that. This time we're going to look at phase, and phasing is a really important thing that we need to address, and a lot of people don't address it. A lot of mixes my students give me don't address phase issues. And the issue is this, that when you're recording an instrument with multiple microphones on it, the signals take slightly different times to get to each microphone. And if you don't nudge them in and get rid of this slight timing difference, it can get phasing, which will either cancel out some frequencies or boost some frequencies and therefore just not make the track sound right. So I want to do an example of that now. So for example, this is the same track we've been using, and I've got a kick and a kick layer track, and I've soloed those two, so we'll just have a listen to those. Individually, great sounding kick. Not such a great sounding kick. And I put the two of them together. It doesn't sound powerful to me. I can see that something's missing. Now, to check yourself whether it's in phase, if you can't hear it, this is something you can do. You can zoom in, and I'm going to find, so I'm going to go back to the start of here. Right, and I'm going to find a kick, and I've marked it already, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to zoom in. Yeah, I'm going to try and get to the start of that kick sound, which is there. Now if I scroll down, look at this one, there is a slight difference, and what might be easier is that's a definite start of a kick on the second track, and you can see there's a difference there. Okay, now there's a number of ways you can do phase. You can do this manually just by moving it. So if I just do that, so we find that this needs to be moved a bit, so let's do that. Yeah, that's about right. Now, so if we listen to it before, listen to it before we heard it. Now if that still sounds strong. That still isn't a great recording, but now together they sound better than they did. Now if I go back a few steps, we can hear it again. Before. Just sounds not quite right. And if we redo, can't redo. So if I just go back to where we were, which was about here, I think. Now go back to the start. Which is about here somewhere, and zoom in. Scroll down. Oh yeah, that's still a bit out, so we'll move that a bit more and listen to it now. It sounds cleaner. Now that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is with a plugin. Okay, so if I go back to previously, and the one I'm going to use is InPhase, which is a Waves plugin. So, and it's like a diet version, I suppose, and it's a mono track, so I'm going to choose mono. And what you can do here is it can sort these problems out. So we listen again to these two tracks. You can if you've got a straight phase where you just need to turn the tracks, one track 180, you can just press that. But to me that still doesn't sound right. Sounds a bit better, but it doesn't sound right. So if I, now what I'm going to do is, I know that this first track needs to be moved a bit, and you can do it with this, you can shuffle it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an example. So let's go back to the beginning here where we started this. So I think this was the one that we've been using to help us. See, so this one is a little bit ahead of it. So what I'm going to do, and how much it's very little, so I'm just going to move this. So we'll play it. You can hear that. So I've demonstrated there 2 ways you can bring things back into phase, make them sound better. You need to check all the drum kit, you will need to check your bass DI and your bass amp, but you can go through and check. That's an easy way of doing it. In the full version of this, it actually had a screen that shows the, up here it will have another screen that shows all the phasing visually easier, and you can just nudge it that way. But that's one quick way of doing this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to link to a video I've done explaining phase and the sonic effects of phase in the comments, and I'll also put a link to this diet version of In Phase from Waves and the full version, which gives you a screen that monitors your waveform and makes it easier to see and identifies it for you. But if you're on a budget, this is fine, this does it. You've just got to practice with it. Okay, there are some other features which I may go through at another time, but yeah.